Okay, so I welcome you to the Fuck Your Fears Masterclass. Whether you participated in the game, challenge, or not, I'm so excited that you signed up for this. And if you are new to this enchanted world, I will introduce myself. I'll go over the play sheet that you all got, and then I'll ask you some questions. And then at the end, I will share what it's like if you wanted to go a little bit deeper into this work. So if you're live, thank you. It's always nice to talk to people, talk to women, goddesses. And if you're watching on the replay, I invite you for the next 45 minutes to an hour to really do nothing else. And I know that's so hard. And especially when we're talking about fears, all of a sudden you could get really busy and really inspired to do something else because it's not easy to work with fears. And it doesn't, we have this idea that it's going to be hard or punishing or really intensely painful. But it's not. And so I invite you to just listen to this for the full hour. So if you don't know me, I am Enchantress Shane, and I run the Awkward Enchanted Coven on Facebook, as well as the Enchanted Burlesque Coven, which is my VIP group, in-person workshops, and all based on embodiment, the feminine body, and bringing our gifts, pleasures, creativity into this world so that we don't have to hide anymore. So I work with women and goddesses who hide so expertly that nobody, unless somebody prodded around, would actually realize that you're hiding. And I work with women who are super hiders because I am a super hider. I can do it so expertly now that the only person that knows that I hide is myself. And that creates this inner civil war. And so I hope that this already resonates with you. Welcome. If you're signing on, I invite you to turn off your, or I could turn off your sound, but you can turn off your video so you can just receive. All right, so let's dive in. I feel so passionate about magically creative women, not just all women, but women who are secret artists or secret singers or secret business women that have always been entrepreneurs since you were like 2 and 3 and 4 years old and you sold bracelets on the beach or you sold lemonade. And now that you have some passion or some fire about something that when you wake up in the morning, it's like bing, bing, and you can't ignore it anymore. I welcome you to this because this is an opportunity to really fuck your fears. And I also want to say that when I say fuck your fears, it doesn't mean like you want to fight them. It might mean that you want to fuck them and love them and get turned on by them. Because it's in that place where your power is. It's where your kryptonite is. It's what makes you different than everybody else. It's what makes you interesting. It's what makes you fabulous. And it's where your confidence is. I know that sounds so nutty, but I want to, I keep closing my eyes because everything I say, I want to like give a whole bunch more. But this is a master class and I'm here to be a master. Psych! I'm not a master at anything except myself. I am an expert at myself. And I'm an expert at behavior. I'm an expert at watching women dodge bigness. And I'm also an expert at children and all human beings. And so when I see women showing up, and whether it's a body movement that's hiding or everything is fine, I'm okay, how are you? In all these ways that we hide, the only thing it does is convince ourselves that we should stay small. And I titled this Fuck Your Fears because it's like, where are you spending your fucks? When you give a fuck about somebody else's judgment, when you give a fuck about somebody who thinks you're not ready or just keep doing what you're doing. When other people, could be family, could be friends, or the worst, it could be yourself. Are you spending your fucks listening to the timing in your head about you're not ready, you have to wait, you have to go do more school, you have to pay another coach, you have to get a money coach, you have to go to therapy, until it's time to give the world your message, your opinion, your performance? It's spending fucks on that time, on your thoughts, that doesn't actually take you anywhere except paralysis. I wrote a note. Oh, it's so smart because I love the rhyming, that analysis leads to paralysis. So really let that in. Like, what does that mean to you? Analysis leads to paralysis is when you have a good idea and you talk yourself out of it. Or one day you feel amazing about it. So you take all these action steps and then it just, I have to pay my rent. Let me focus on that. Or let me go on vacation. Or let me take care of my ailing grandmother. Like, all these things start to get in the way. Yes, I'm glad that that is something major. Analysis leads to paralysis. There's a really powerful speaker. Her name is Mel Robbins. And she has this thing where if you have an idea or a creative moment, or you want to reach out to somebody, do it in 5 seconds. Because it takes that quick for us to just like rationalize our way out of something and let fear take over. And so usually magically creative women have big hearts, big sensitivities, big caring. That's me. And so it's so easy and smart to be like, just be quiet. You don't want to take up all the space because everyone's going to think you're a space monger or you're self-absorbed, or you think that you're, so important, or that your whole challenge or situation is never ending and people are going to be sick of hearing your victim story. So why even bother opening up if nobody can handle it anyway? Or maybe you think that your shit is so gross and ugly, your fear is so paralyzing that no one's going to want to deal with it. And so you are totally fundamentally flawed, and actually no one's going to be your friend anymore. So I raise my hand to these things and I say it with joy, because I couldn't show up here. Actually, I don't know if that's 100% true. I've been in my fear pretty much all day and all yesterday, and it's been a roller coaster, and I'm going to share some more stories about it. But when it comes to the moment where you can face your fear and you can be nose to nose with it, is exactly the moment you can have a breakthrough. And I wanted to find breakthrough because so many support people talk about breakthroughs, but a breakthrough is really changing a pattern that could be generations old. And the breakthrough could be saying, I love you. It could be saying, I charge $16,000 for my year-long program. A breakthrough could be facing the fact that you eat your emotions. And because we have all this social media, everybody sees everybody. So either you have faced your fears, or you have chosen to become an expert at hiding. And anyone that calls you out on that or who questions you could be somebody that you don't want to deal with. And it could be their fault, or it could trigger a victim. I'm also very familiar with that. And so it's like, yeah, I guess you're right. Like, of course you're going to look at me. I'm the big loser. And when you declare your title for yourself, other words, let's say I've called myself a loser, and then other words start to glom onto it. Look, oh, I can't even pay my bills. I don't even have a relationship. I have a business, but who knows if it's sustainable? And then it becomes this big tumor, and paralysis happens. And then swampiness happens. and then maybe one or two good things happen, you stay to that. You're like, oh, cool, I'm back in alignment. But then something happens and you're back devastated. So it's this magically creative woman like myself that has very high highs and very low lows. And that space in between is so vast, is so like moving like the ocean, that it's challenging to stay somewhere close to the high and somewhere in the middle, so that it's not like, uh-oh, I'm clinically depressed, I have to over analyze myself and get all these self-development books and ask everyone's opinion of why I'm broken. Anybody resonate with this? Yes, thank you so much. If you're watching this live, I'm seeing everything in the chat. So feel free to write in the chat if you're live, because sometimes this kind of talk, gets you going and you want to have somewhere to put it. If you're driving or typing is not accessible, I'm a big fan of talking to myself, because when we hear ourselves, our divine answers come in. Okay, so I wrote down some notes because I have so much to say, but I also want to keep really focused on this for us. So there's a quote that one of my mentors shared, and it's I hope I don't botch it. I didn't write down the whole thing. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. So let's take a deep breath into that. Let out a sound if you can. And if you can, close your eyes for a moment and imagine what your beautiful staircase looks like. First thought, best thought. And so, is your staircase a wobbly, crickety, wooden nightmare in the dark with no banister that maybe you could see through? Or are you imagining a beautiful, winding staircase that's white and glitter is on it? Or is your staircase wooden and strong and well lit? This is something I really want to give you as a visualization to keep with you when you feel stuck in fear, is to close your eyes and take a breath in and imagine your staircase. Is it glass? Is it outdoors in nature? We are magical women, and so nature is a big support for us. And so when you visualize this staircase, can you visualize your feet? Are they in shoes or boots or flip-flops, or are you barefoot? And can you actually take one foot and lift it up onto that stair? And that's it. You've done enough. And so for me, I'm a very visual person. I love bright colors. I love glitter. I love painting. I was not raised to have, an exorbitant amount of confidence. I was, until I hit puberty. And then I went down this path of extreme self-loathing. Now, I know you can all look at me now and be like, oh, you dance burlesque. Oh, you do this, you do that, your videos, blah, blah, blah. The reason I'm so excited about doing all these things is because I came from such a dark, scary place of not even knowing that I could do anything else with my thoughts except beat myself up, loser, fugly, big nose, like all the things. I had a nose job when I was 16. I used to have very extremely big hair, which you'll see when I send this to you, this masterclass. And I was just thinking that nobody really liked me. Like they just felt bad for me, so they hung out with me. And so much so that I wouldn't even turn to people directly. And I wouldn't turn to them with my profile because I hated my nose. And so I continued down this path of hiding, physically hiding. Like I would look down, I would keep my hair covering my face, all these things. And I learned how to look cool. That was my mechanism. That is how I really learned how to make friends. I just acted like them. And at the time when this all started, I lived in a very tough neighborhood and girls were fighting each other. That's the girls I wanted to be like. But I was afraid. I was this big, sensitive, emotional child who grew up in a house where emotions weren't safe. We didn't know. My mother would lose her shit, or my dad would lose his shit, and me and my brother would go to our room. But we didn't learn how to clean up a mess. We just learned how to make it. And at all the meantime, I was growing a feminine body. I had big breasts. I had curvy hips. I was like really sexy way before I was ready for it mentally. And I just learned how to be promiscuous. And I didn't have a voice. I wasn't confident. So I didn't have safe sex. I made out with guys on street corners, and I would come home super late. And because nobody wanted to feel their feelings except anger, we would have fights and then go to sleep and then pretend nothing happened. So all this was happening. And as I got older, I just started to shut down. I was in relationships where I didn't know what I was doing. It was in a year. I didn't know where we were at in our relationship. We didn't say I love you, but I had all these feelings. And all I knew was that I have to look pretty. I have to be sexy. And that's all that mattered. Fast forward some more years, I have a business. I'm working with parents and children. And I really started to watch family behavior and family dynamic, and how the family dynamics would lead to disconnect. Now I'm in business, and I'm evaluating how I show up in my business and how I've learned how to be in my own family and how to be in my own messy world and try to run a business. And fast forward a couple of more years, and I learned when I started performing how my family dynamic, how my past stuff was lending itself to self-doubt, insecurity, failed relationships, failed moments of pride. And I've come a really long way. And I'm evolved in a lot of areas and a lot of areas not. But the fear area is a place that I really, really embrace as I meet lots of women who have a bud of a creative idea. And they get so excited talking about it. And as quickly as they bring up that idea, wah, comes the monster that's like, why don't you just wait? How about 3 months from now? Let's check in then. Or let me speak to my husband first, because he really knows what's best. Maybe that's not the exact words, or maybe they are. Or actually my kids are really busy right now, or I don't know. I want to finish my therapy first. And then all the budding of the good ideas gets like spit out and put in the back of a shelf, or squashed up in a tissue and put at the bottom of the garbage pail. And it frustrates me, because these women that are sharing this with me, when they share their idea or they share their excitement, my whole body feels alive. And I recognize where they are because I've been there. And it's like, how to keep the inspiration and motivation going. So paralysis, very genius paralysis, does not set in. And that genius upper limit problem of money, time, energy. Where are you spending your fucks? And sometimes it's so genius because it's family. You don't want to put your family second. Or it's money. It's like, oh, my rent is due. I can't spend any money. Or all of a sudden, your kid or your niece or nephew needs you so much. So it makes sense that you don't give yourself and your fears and your dreams a breath, a watering, some sunshine. There's one really quick, well, it's a long story, but it's quick. I'll give it to you, where I felt my fear so deeply, rocked me to my core. I was at a retreat in Mexico, and there was a temescal, which is a sweat lodge. So I'm at the sweat lodge, and I am completely afraid of being in an enclosed place with 15 other women, sweating my ass off. And they're like, of course you can get out, but basically don't get out. But you can get out, but don't get out. And I'm challenging myself to be like, am I going to be that woman who's going to get out for the first 5 seconds? Or can I actually do this? What is fear? It's just my mind. So I make myself do this. And it's also beautiful. It's a women's retreat. So I want to go through the whole process. I get in the sweat lodge, and right away my heart starts beating. And I'm like, okay, I'm noticing what's happening with my fears. And then they put blankets. It's a little adobe hut. And I start freaking the fuck out. My whole body is sweating. I'm starting to like rock my body, and I'm able to witness that I'm doing this. And I want to get out, but I'm like, Jane, just stay, just stay. So I don't know. And that's another thing about fucking your fears is, when is it a real fear and you could actually traumatize yourself? And when is it something that you can actually step through one stair at a time? And they close the things. I'm sitting there freaking out. My whole body's rocked. I have 2 women very next to me. I had a sarong on, but I was basically naked, and like, talk about fear. They make it even worse, and they start shoveling outside because they're shoveling the hot stones. And to me, this sounds like we're getting buried. And at the time I was really deep in fear about death. And so they're shoveling, and I hear this shoveling, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like exactly what it's like to be buried. And then I start thinking about my family, and I start thinking like, is this what it's going to sound like when, I took myself down a trip. And then I allowed myself to have this experiment. I see my dog Cooper looking around. And the experiment was, what if I stayed in this fear? And I gave myself a mantra, and the mantra was from Louise Hay, and it's, I am well, all is okay. And I was rocking my body, and I was like, all is well, I am okay. All is well, I am okay. Literally, I started just repeating. And the moment passed, and 5 minutes passed. And then they said, okay, everybody, time to get out and get some water. Now, I'm not sure if a true Temescal sweat lodge, you get out and in and out and in. And there was a choice to go out and get water or to stay in. And I got out and got water, and I came right back in. And it was that quick that a fear, with support and guidance and tools, can be broken through. And P.S., I went back the next year, and I taught at this retreat. And I sat the whole time. I didn't get out. I didn't have any water. And maybe that was extreme. I don't know. But I really was able to recall that moment of when I knew there was a breaking moment where I could throw in the towel and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm fine. And I could come up with medical reasons. I thought of my mother saying like, that's crazy. You should get out. Like, I thought of all these voices that were telling me like, it's okay to give up. And I didn't want to, and I didn't. And there are so many stories now that I've been focusing on fear for a while where I realized I broke through it anyway. And so fuck your fears is about looking at the fear, witnessing it, and then having that intuition, fine tuning, and really working that muscle of intuition. So you know if this is the right thing and I should spend my fucks here. Should I spend my time, money, and energy here, or should I pull back? And it's not like you get an answer and then that's it. You're done. No more fear. The stakes always get higher, but you got to start somewhere. And so what would it look like? And I'm going to ask some of these questions that you got in your play sheet. What would it look like in your life if you weren't afraid? If you weren't afraid of being seen in whatever, fill in the judgment, you weren't being seen in being a fool or crazy or like a loser or uneducated, or how about a charlatan? Anybody feel that fear? What would it be like if you were just like, cool, I'm this way? What would it feel like to be whole? And you can, it's on your worksheet, but you can also write it in the chat, or you can just answer it yourself, or you can write it in your journal or book of shadows. Or maybe just answer in your mind. When you are fearful, when you do feel a fear, what happens to you physically? Is there a heart palpitation? Is there a shoulder crunching? Is there sweaty palms? Does your voice get really quiet and crackly? Do you stutter? So just taking a note of what physically happens to your body, to your soma, the somatics of your body when you are in fear. And it could be somebody saying something. It could be somebody saying your name when you're stressed out or trying to manage something on your own. So when you notice what's happening in your body, I'm going to slow down that fear moment. When you notice what's happening in your fear body, the next thing that happens is your mind, whoop, tells a story. I am in fear. I'm unsafe. Danger. That's what happens. The reptilian part of the brain. I say that like that because who gives a shit? Like, who cares? But I think it's interesting to know, so I will share. So your brain makes up a story. And thank you for sharing. I am reading. Your brain makes up a story. And that part of your brain says, like, get out of here. Flee, flight, get out of here. Unsafe. It's like you're an animal in the jungle and you've noticed as a predator. Now, when your mind makes up a story, your body then believes it. But here's the best fucking kept secret ever. I have a theater background, and what I learned was your body experiences excitement and fear in the same somatic way, in the same embodied way, right? So fuck your fears is like, maybe I'm fucking my fears. Maybe it's passionate. Maybe it's something that's amazing and beautiful. Or maybe it's something that I don't know how to manage. And maybe it's something that I can actually really fuck. Or maybe it's something that's like, hey, fuck you, stay away. And how to differentiate the two is by slowing down the fear, noticing what's happening in your body, noticing there's a fear. I'm making up a story. This person wants to kill me. Or let me make it more realistic. This person knows that I'm a fraud. She's on to me. Or I'll relate it to romantic partnership. That's it. They're going to leave me forever. They've found out that I'm actually not real and that I'm actually really hard to be with and that I'm over emotional and they're going to run away from me. Or to make it relevant to this group of magically creative women, you put your gift out there. You have your show. You put your art out there. You make a video and radio silence. Or someone is like, what are you doing? You're an artist now? Take a breath and notice the thoughts that are attaching to your body that are pushing you away. But what if in that moment you turn it into like, ooh, I want to fuck my fear. I don't want to push it away. Because it's that juicy fear that brings you alive. Oh, my heart's beating. Oh, my shoulder. oh, what if I got excited right now? What if this is one of those moments Shane was talking about that is a breakthrough? What if I can now walk onto my stage of life? Or what if I can just show up in my Facebook group and say, like, hey, I'm in a fear, I don't know what to do, but at least I'm doing an outreach. Okay, great. So I want to address that too. And what I want to address is when your physical body has now manifested fear into something that is very intense, like a panic attack or a seizure, or a closing of the throat and the breath stopping, or asthma. Now, because we are creative, magical women, and this might not be a popular belief, but I do believe that all of our sicknesses and illnesses are attached to an emotional state that is no longer serving us. So, of course, take care of yourself. And this goes for anybody, even if you don't have any medical conditions. Bring your body to safety. Now, you can do that amongst other people, or maybe you go to the bathroom, or maybe you say, you know, I knew I was coming to this art gallery opening and I'm glad I got to see my art, but I have to go, and leave. You know, it's like the magically creative women that are so susceptible to outside judgment. We have to learn how to manage, how to be in this ocean of like judgment, self-doubt, and then shining star. And the reason I love the stage so much is because I am terribly awkward in a room full of people. So I prefer to be on the stage by myself, controlling everything. And that's why I'm interested and excited about the game, the program that's coming up, you know, the opportunity to go deeper, because where you lie to yourself is where there might be a fear hiding out. So where is your fear hiding out? Where are you lying to yourself? It could be something physical. It could be the lie of like, I'm a really shitty artist. I don't know. I just have an idea, whatever. Where are you putting yourself down? And maybe it's the thing that you are like that you're resisting right now. Right now, as I'm speaking, what is coming up for you as your shining moment? You know, do you have a book in you? Are you a public speaker? Are you a stand-up comedian? Can you get on a stage and talk about all your medical issues so that it gets transmuted into joy? Where are you hiding? And there's certain arenas that most women hide, and we channel them towards gossip, overeating, over drinking, or I'll say it now, social media in comparison. So what triggers your anxiety or your fear? And that's not a question on the play sheet, but it's a really good question to ask yourself. What do you do? Actually, this is a question on the play sheet. The first question, what do you do when you feel that fear? Do you fly? Do you flee? Do you freeze? Do you freeze? Do you freeze? It's that moment where you can have a breakthrough by saying, I need to go to the bathroom, and go there. You don't even have to have a plan, but just get away from the energy. So when I say fears, I'm not talking about going to run into a train track. I'm not talking about reaching out to the man that abused you physically 5 years ago. Let's just get that straight, because I want to be super clear. Yes, thank you for sharing. And everyone who's sharing on the side, it's so important to be seen. So even right now, you showing up to this masterclass is really about you not isolating. And isolating, again, can be very genius because you can think about it in your head. You can journal. These are beautiful ways. Well, the thinking in the head, not really. But the journaling is like an expert way of hiding because you don't show it to anybody. So yes, it gets out of your head, but it doesn't really go away. The thing that makes actions that makes fear start to dissipate, action, one step in front of the other. And maybe your magical staircase is teeny tiny steps. Maybe it's like for the littles, like the little people, the cartoon, the little mice. Or maybe your stairs are grand and there's 2 staircases and you take turns going up one, coming down, going up the other, coming down. Whatever your staircase is, as Martin Luther King said, we build faith by taking one step at a time. And even if we don't see the rest of the staircase, because it's like a stairway to heaven, it's doing it anyway. And the idea is not to do it alone. So when you're scrolling on Facebook and you're by accident comparing and contrasting and looking at other people's businesses, looking at other people and feeling intimidated, you are just as amazing as the women that you see, and probably even more of a reflection, and it's even more in your field to be as successful as them because they're in your field. So when you see someone that you honor and that you love and that you think is super cool and you might be intimidated by them, you are that. You are that reflection. And so for you to jump over or slither under the fear is the moment that you can join and see that reflection in you. And that's the moment that is like so teeny tiny. But as you step through it with one toe at a time, the rest of your foot follows. So let's take a deep breath in, give your body a stretch. And let's see, what other question? Okay. The last question I want to ask you is, how has fear prevented you from having something that's really important so far? How has a fear prevented you from having something that is so important? Have you not looked for a gallery to hang your artwork? Have you played down your genius idea because it's like, I don't know. Have you stayed home from a party, given yourself like limits of like where you're allowed to have fun? Have you been envious or jealous of another person who's in your field, and that has pushed you to keep yourself even smaller? Do you like to help people, but you just don't do it because you don't think you're smart enough yet? Oh, even as I say that, I feel like energy zappers. And so here's the thing. If you're trying to do something new, and I'm giving the word try here, benefit of the doubt, and you've never done it before, you are walking into uncharted waters, and you cannot do that alone. If you do that alone, chances are you'll take 2 steps and then run the fuck out of the house or get away from that staircase because you don't know if you did it right. And then there's self-doubt. Did I do it right? It took me 10 years to even do it. Now I took a step and I don't even know if it's right. I'm getting the hell out of here. And that's why it's so crucial to keep going. What I've noticed in my 10 years of coaching and 15 years of therapy work, people get stuck in 3 places. So where do you get stuck? In the start, even before you begin? In the stand, in the middle of it, when all the details come in? Or do you get stuck in the success, in the 3rd place? After it's over, you did it, it's great, and now you run away. That's kind of where I hang out, is like, I did it, I had the idea, I created the project, and now it's successful, and I'm like, oh my God, everybody thinks it's a mess. Now I know I'm being theatrical with this, but it's so real. It's so real. And my vulnerable share is, I did this amazing fuck your fears game. Women broke through major stuff, body shame, performing shame. They broke through it. And the week after, I just got overwhelmed. I couldn't do a replay video. I couldn't share my amazing thoughts on how it went. I was like, oh my God, it's so big. How can I continue in this way? I showed up and supported so many women, and then I went into a hole for 2 weeks. So I was like, okay, I need to get back up. And here I am with this masterclass. And so where do you get stuck? In the start, in the stand, or in the success? Yes, great. I love all the agreements that are happening. It's so powerful that we don't feel alone. It's like when we feel alone, then shame comes on in. And then we're like, I'm not doing this. Yes, thank you. It's so cool. One of the women who are writing, it doesn't say your name, it says fuck your fears. And so it's like my fears are writing to me. It's really fabulous. Um, and so I know time can go so quickly, and I want to honor the hour. And it's so good to know these things, because it's the moment that you have your support team that you say, hey, listen, I usually get stuck when I'm finished with things. I really need morale at that point. Can I ask you for that now? And because I might not even reach out to you. I might be like disappear land, and you just think I'm busy or fabulous, because I really need help. So that's when sisterhood comes into play. That's when we run back to the group and say like, oh my God. Or that's when we run to our accountability partner and say, yo, I am hiding. Can you please help me? And it might sound like, I'm hiding, like crying through tears. This is what I so believe in. And I so believe in each of you for showing up here. You could have been doing at least 5, 6 other things. You could have been scrolling around. You could have been looking at the next shiny object. So now I want to share with you what I'm really excited about continuing. And this is when, yes, I love it. I love all the goddesses that are sharing and asking for specific stuff, because I also need help. And because I'm so amazing, it's really easy to be like, oh, Shane, she's doing something fabulous. She's busy with her fabulous life. When meanwhile, I'm at home, like in all my papers, thinking that the answers are here. And the answers are here. The answers are here in my body, my mind, my spirit, my soul. It is my job, it's my duty to help other women out of their fears and to move forward, which helps me with my fears, which then they help other people with their fears. Just you doing the thing, just you doing the performance, the retreat, the challenge, the gallery viewing gives other women permission to do it. Just me doing this, I say just, gives you permission to do it. This is how women lived thousands of years ago. Aho, ashe. It's like what we did. And so now we come together on the internet and do it. And it's just as good. It's different. And we have the invitation to hang out together. But I want to invite each of you amazing women who are here. There's about 8 or 9 of you that have fucking said yes to yourself, that have dedicated this hour. So I want to invite you into this 8-week deep dive. It's called, I couldn't come up with a better name, and I love it. And it's an 8-week deep dive into personal liberation, like freedom. Freedom. It's not total and complete freedom. Let's keep it real. But it's 8 weeks. It's actually 9 weeks. There's one, what did I call it? I love the names I gave it. It's your understudy week. Yes, I want you to be liberated. Oh my goodness. I stand for your liberation. And so it's 8 weeks with a 9-week understudy week. And it starts April 25th. And we did the game. It was quick. If you weren't a person or woman that did things quick, you might have missed out. You might have started beating yourself up. But now we have 9 weeks to luxuriate. And I'm going to give you the cost of the program. I'm going to share some more details with you. And then I will shut this off. And I will answer any questions you have as well. I've cleared my schedule for the next hour. And I had a doctor's appointment and all these things that showed up, but I'm here for you. I am here for you. I am here for you. I don't know where to look. So we start April 25th. The cost of the program is $1,100, but because you're here and you care and you're in the work, the price for you is $888. It's the number of infinity. It's 9 weeks. It's live sessions. It's personal attention. And it's about steps and collaborations. So it's not a therapy group. We're not only coming together to talk about our fears. We are coming together to create steps, take them, see what's happening in between the next foot, take the next steps, next step, until your thing is happening. Yes. And so I want to make it really easy if this is a yes for you. And I know right now everybody's having money stuff and there's like, oh, my kids' camp and this and that and this and that. I get it. Money is an energy and money is a fear that I relate to. Like, is this sustainable? Can it really work for me? Am I going to flake? I'm not letting you fucking flake. That's for sure. And here's the thing I want to offer too, is that let's create this 2-payment payment plan, and it's $400 and $488 by the time May ends. So take a breath. It's doable. I got your back. And you are not alone. I want to offer a check-in call, 15, 20, up to 30 minutes of figuring this out with you, because this part is the part where notoriously we go into hiding. I love this. Yes, yes, yes. The money. Oh my God, I want to hide. I really want to help you with that. And I want to help you right now by saying, yeah, flake, big one for me too. By saying, I am here to guide you and walk through the money fear with you. Do not retreat into your own head to figure it out. And I also want you to know, I want you to make money from your gift. If that's what you need, if that's what you want. Some of you, that's not an issue. It's more time. I don't have time. Oh, I'm busy that night. What if I miss the live classes? I got you. This is not a huge group. It is 12 maximum. Okay, great. It is about we all together. I'm facilitating, I'm leading, but so are you. So you're bringing your gift to the group. If you're a painter, we want to learn. If you're a musician, we want to learn. If you want to have a juice shop, I see my sister goddess Anna on here. If you want to have a nutrition store, we want to learn. So this isn't just about like learning and growing, which is fabulous, but it's about taking the action steps that are going to get you into this world with the confidence of a showgirl. And, you know, the fear of what family is going to think, what your friends are going to think, what your neighbors are going to think, what your partner that you know for 30 years is going to think like, oh God. All of those fears. I am here to support you, to really show you that you have the power to have all these people around you adjust. I was a stripper. I was a preschool teacher at the same time, different times of the day. And who knew I would be comfortable sharing that kind of shit with my family? Oh my God. What you like about me, what you're into about me, I know what it is. It's my authenticity because I've stopped trying to be professional. And I want you to give that to yourself. So instead of thinking about, oh, I can't give her $888, I want you to think of it as I give a fuck enough about myself that I can spend that money. And maybe I need to have a conversation and move some things around or stop buying Starbucks coffee for a couple of weeks, or maybe I don't need to get my hair done for $150, or I don't know what it is. Or maybe it's asking a family member who really wants to love and support you and see you move forward, can I have a loan? maybe during this program, you will earn some money from your gift. That would be so fucking cool that you pull money from the universe, unexpected money coming from unexpected places, so that you could pay for this and it pays for itself. That would be friggin' amazing. So I'm going to read to you the 8 different weeks so you get an idea of what we're going to do. So the first week is about your ideal performance. And so, you know, I'm a showgirl burlesque dancer, so all these titles are fun like that. So go with me on this ride. And that's about your vision, your ideal vision. What does that look like? And what comes up when you're seen in sharing that? The second week is about enchanted dream, your enchanted dream that has to deal with money and details and how to like navigate the masculine energy of this game, of this shit that comes up with like, oh, you want to have a website? You need an email address. Oh, you need an email address? Oh, you don't want Gmail? How do I? So that's the kind of stuff we deal with. And the third, oh, it's a pillar. Thank you, Courtney. You just reminded me. And the third pillar is risk versus reward. And we really go deep into what our fears are when we take a risk. Next week, we go into the boxing ring. You bust out your like Rocky. Like, what is it like to get in the ring if you're too old, too fat, too skinny, too weird, too annoying, and you get back in the game anyway? What's that like? And how do we support each other? The next one is fancy and free. And that's when I bring in my tag team partner, Amy Silverman, and she's going to be a part of our powerful communication. And it's going to be very specific for each person. So each person gets their own specific guidance in what's stopping them from speaking up. The next one is taking the stage in a cheap theater. So when there's judgment, fears of abandonment, shame, sorrow, victim, how do we take the stage anyway? And then the 8th week is finding your understudy. That's an implementation rest week. And the 9th week, darlings, is when you take a bow and you stand up and you let everybody see you and fucking clap for you. That is the 9-week program. We start April 25th. It's $888, 2 payments, $400, $488 by the end of May. If I'm talking fast, it's okay. I will slow down and I will, I'm going to close us out and then I'm going to stop recording. And if you have any questions, you can type them and I will answer them. I am super excited. There's 8 spaces left and this $888 price, let's get it done this week by Friday. And if you say to me, Shane, I got $100 to put on this, charge me the rest on Saturday, we'll sign an agreement. Like, let's work it out. I'm not really here to make you, not pay your water bill or whatever. Let's work it out. So I thank you so much. Stay here. I'm going to click off the recording and I'll answer your questions. Or actually, I'm going to leave the recording in case people watch it and they have the same questions. So type your questions in the chat box and I'll read them and answer them. Or type yes, and then we'll set up a conversation. So thank you for your blessings, Dewi. Thank you for being here. Thank you, the goddesses that showed up. So type your questions about this program and how it could serve you or what your fear is, or if you have any logistic questions about timing, dates, stuff like that. And if you've already said yes, there's a couple of you that have already said yes, use this space as your declaration. Like, I'm in, I'm fucking doing this. And let yourself be seen, because it's really a beautiful thing to let yourself be seen. Let's see, I stopped looking at my notes, but I trust that everything came through perfectly. All right. So type any and all questions. They will stay anonymous. I won't read your name. So if you feel shy or something like that, you can type your question anyway. And right now, I'm going to breathe in the fact that I showed up and really announcing that I get stuck in this success. Yes, please feel free to answer your question. I am so here for you. Yeah, I fucking did it. I did a good job. Here's my happy dance. Ooh, ooh, silly happy dance. Mm, 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 mm. Oh, this is very unique. Thank you, Neith. I feel like the That's like very tuned into you. Thank you so much. Great. Great. So Courtney, you are asking a great question. And this is something I'm going to bring to the Awkward Enchanted Coven. Sorry, I wanted it to be anonymous. I can't help it. I love your name. So how to be in the same room with other women who are very awesome. Amazing. I love that question. I might even use that question on my Dear Enchantress advice page because it's a fucking genius question. So I'm going to highlight that question for myself. And I want to answer any questions about this program specifically. Sorry if that wasn't clear, because I really want to give this time while it's still alive in your body. So does that make sense? And let's see, I'm going to send this question to you so I have it in the right place. So if there's any questions about this program, about the layout of the program, or if you want to set up a conversation about this program, like Fuck Your Fears, 8-week deep dive into your personal liberation, if this is something that you are wanting to do, I want you in it. My heart's invested. I'm excited. I am in all 3 parts. Great question. So we meet Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. on Zoom. It is just like this, except we're all talking, we're all sharing. We set up agreements. Wednesday nights, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I know some of you, I know we have Hawaii in the house, and we have Wisconsin in the house, and we have Alabama in the house, and where else? I know that's another question, but it's okay. I like asking. Great question. Thank you for asking that. All right. It is St. Louis. Yes, I knew I was missing. St. Louis up in the house. All right, folks. So I can't believe it. I brag. It is 3:01 and we are complete. Wow. This already is fucking one of my fears, and it's fucking it fabulously. So I look forward to having more conversations. If you feel like this might be right for you, or if you know a woman that really needs this and is open to hearing your recommendation, please put us in touch with a mutual email or a mutual message, and I will follow up with her. You'll be getting a copy of this masterclass. So I thank you. I fucking thank you for showing up. I know that showing up can be the hardest part of it all. So thank you. Have a blessed rest of your day and have an enchanted evening. It's true. I am thebomb.com. Bye for now.